Bawip Grana Weep Nitty Bong, I'm Engineer Hoist, and this is the wrap-up video and haul video for my experience at TFCON DC 2019 in Reston, Virginia. Now, if you happen to see my stream this week, I touched on a little bit here, but if you saw that, stick around because I'm going to be covering more than what was just in that stream. First off, as you might notice, I did spring for the convention t-shirts. Got a nice shot of Bumblebee and the Washington Monument there. It says TFCon 2019. It was worth it. It was my first convention, my first Transformers convention, and honestly, I had a blast. And I always start off all my streams with shout outs, so let's start this one off with a shout out too. So shout out first of all to all of you watching this video right now and have watched any of my videos in the past, and a special shout out to those of you guys that found me at TFCon and came up and said hi. Brandon, Ryan, Chad, Patrick, Vinny, all you guys, I truly appreciate it, even if you may not have recognized exactly who I was, but you knew I was familiar. So really, seriously, you guys made my day. Thank you. And we heard the next TFCon's coming to Orlando, which is just a stone's throw away from where I'm at, so I'm definitely going to that. So if you missed me at this one, go check me out at the next one in March. Okay, so let's get to the wrap-up. Now, to do that, I actually prepared some slides. First off, a few things that I learned. Because this was my first convention, obviously, I didn't know what to expect going in there. I did my research. I watched some convention videos. Bobby Skullface did a good one. Patriot Prime made a pretty funny video, or at least a little part of it at the end of one of his videos there. And all good stuff, but nothing really prepares you until you actually get there and you learn some things. And so here's what I learned. First up, if you want the Transformers or the TFCon exclusive figures, get a premium ticket, because what that does is it allows you early access on Friday night. Oh, you also have to get there Friday night to sign up and get in line. It gives you first access to go in there, first chance to grab all of the premium figures. They will all be available to you, including surprise ones that we didn't know about going into it. If not, your only chance to get them is to get there on Saturday super early and get in line, because they make a limited quantities and they could run out. Luckily, I did get a premium ticket. I kind of anticipated that, so I got all of the exclusives that I wanted. Whereas I did hear a lot of people missed out, and I am not an early riser, and I definitely would not be at the front of any of those lines. So yeah, if there's a particular exclusive that you must have, spring for a premium ticket, which is kind of hard because by the time they announce them, the premium tickets are probably sold out. So there you go. Next up, have a budget and stick to it. That second part was something I had a trouble with. I spent way too much money, which you'll find out when we get to the haul. And I'm happy with everything that I have, but once I did my budget and my finances, I'm kind of regretting it a little bit, only just because of the amount that I spent. So definitely in the future, I will be going and stick in a budget. Also have goals. A lot of what I picked up was easily obtainable at any of the online retailers that I could have just got it, just purchased it online, whether it be from the Chosen Prime or TF Source or Toy Dojo or any of the online retailers. They were easily purchasable there, but the whole spirit of everything kind of got into me, and I was just grabbing a lot. You'll see a particular theme when we get through the haul. I buffed up my Legends scale collection there, but I'm definitely going to do it differently at the next one. Okay, next thing, third. I actually just touched on that. Don't just get stuff that you can still get from the stores. Definitely look for the exclusives. Get the exclusives. I mean, or budget to have exclusives. If you were to get all of the exclusives, it was about $600. So if you're looking for a figure for a value, an amount to save for, and you're thinking maybe, what if I want to get all of the exclusives? $600 is probably a good target. If not, then you can pick and choose or whatever. Not everything's going to be for everybody. I know a lot of people didn't like that Watermelon Mirage, even though I particularly love it. But that's what. But yeah, definitely look for that. Or if you're a particular G1 collector, or you're looking for older stuff, that's a fantastic place to do that, because there's a lot of stores, a lot of individual sellers, people up in rooms and stuff like that. You can find a lot of really good deals, or at least find things that aren't widely available, even if it's not necessarily a good deal. Next up, plan your weekend. Plan time for the panels, socializing, shopping. I found that I spent a little bit too much time in the dealer room, just kind of wandering around, looking, deciding, money burning a hole in the pocket, whatever. There's plenty of socializing goes on in the dealer room too. They got some nice displays there, including upcoming figures. And it is worth going back, because going by the Mastermind Creations table a couple of times when I first went there, found that they had a few things out, but the Chrome Dome, the Nemo figure from the IDW Comics was not there on my first pass. So it was only until later, after I saw him on tour, I was like, wait a minute, I didn't see that. So I ran back there and saw it, and it's a beautiful figure. But anyway, but definitely also they plan out the schedule. Look for the panels. You don't have to go to all the panels, because there's really no break for lunch. So pick your own time for with that. But look for the ones that you want to go to. Make sure you can get to them. They're pretty good about sticking to the schedule. And so plan for that. Plan time to hang out. And certainly if you're staying overnight or whatever, there's plenty of time afterwards to socialize and all that stuff. But, there's some people that you might want to talk to may not be also staying over. So there's a lot of stuff to do. And just try to, plan blocks of time for all of that. Definitely, this one hit me hard. Do not forget to eat and drink. That first day on Saturday, I was just, it was just going through, enjoying everything, seeing all the Transformers, seeing all the people were in costumes, and just going, watching panels and things like that. I completely forgot to eat lunch, didn't drink a sip of water or whatever, even though they had the little water jugs out available for anybody to use. Just go up there, grab a cup, and drink yourself some water. I didn't do any of that, and it was starting to hurt there later on. I did finally get fueled up at dinner time and was fine for the weekend or whatever, but pay attention and don't, in your plan, schedule time to go and get some lunch and have something to eat, and drink plenty of water, because it's easy to get dehydrated, especially if you're going to be down here in Florida. Trust me, easy to get dehydrated. And the last thing, this is really more of a personal thing for me. I found that 12 hours one way is way too long to drive. I was like, oh, it's no problem. I drove across the country one time when I was younger. It was a good time, good chance to see the country and see a little bit or whatever. But it was about 12 hours from my house to the hotel, and that's drive time. That doesn't count for stops for gas or food or bathroom breaks or anything like that. So all told, it was probably 13 to 14 hours on the road, and that is a very, very long day. So if they have another one in DC, I'll be flying, that's for sure. And that's also something else to consider as far as making your purchases. If you're going to be flying, you're going to have to pack all that stuff to go home or ship it or something like that. So that's another thing to consider. Part of the reason why I drove, I didn't want to limit myself. But yeah, 12 hours is way too long. Okay, so next up is something else that I was really excited about, and I'll probably do it again. And I highly recommend it for anybody who's ever thought about customizing, is take the custom class. This event, it was $80. I don't know if that's a standard thing or if it varies based on the figure or anything like that, but it was well worth it. It was a great experience. I hadn't done it before, and I had no idea what to expect going into it. The good news is they had instructions to tell you what to do, plus they had somebody there who was a customizer who could help out and give you tips. They also had parts if you broke it or if you lose a screw, like I did. First off, this is what we saw when we arrived there. It was the Voodoo Robots Potion Series Salus, aka Ratchet. It's a masterpiece scale figure, and if my recollection is not failing me, this was actually came out shortly before the official Masterpiece Ratchet was out, so I don't think it did quite as well. So they probably had a lot of overstock, which is why this became a custom class figure. But anyway, it's a pretty decent figure. The official one's a little bit better than what I saw in this, but if we didn't have the official one, this would actually be a very good option. Okay, so in addition to that, they had plenty of paints for the paint job that they intended for you. A little water to clean your brushes, paint brushes, tools, things like that. Everything that you needed. You didn't need to bring anything, but if you had stuff that you wanted to, you certainly could. They didn't limit anything like that. And so there's a picture of the figure before paint. So you can see it's a pretty decent ratchet. And first thing you do is you disassemble it. And they do walk through all of the instructions. They say, okay, transform here, tab this, you take out this screw right here. Some of the pictures can be a little difficult to decipher, but that's why they have people there to help you out. That all takes a little bit of time. Then you get to painting. Now, it looks like it was real quick, but it actually took quite a while, because especially for this one, because you're changing the color of the entire figure. That's a lot of surface area to paint, and took a long time. And especially if you want to do more than one coat, which sometimes was necessary. As it is, I did put 2 coats on my figure on the green, and it could probably use a couple of more, because there's still some underlying paint showing through. And there is the finished product after getting him all put back together. And so that is the customizing class. They also gave a bio here, and I'll show that off a little bit closer here in a second. Oh, and before we get to that, while I was walking around the dealer room, I found this. This is I believe this was sold through eHobby. This was a Generation 1 Ratchet that they released as a special figure. It was colored based on the Michael Bay movie, the Bayformers Ratchet colors in G1 Ratchet, and apparently that's what this particular custom figure was based on. Okay, so here is the figure himself, and if you take a closer look, you can see on his hand where I didn't really get all of the hand, so definitely could use a little more paint there. I'm not sure if it comes across there, but you can see the red cross coming through his shoulder, so there's that. Plus, if we turn him around, when he was in 1,000 parts, I wasn't sure, didn't know that part was going to be sticking out, so that could use a little bit of paint and stuff like that. And just little bits here and there. After you get them back together, you realize what else you can do. We started at 9 a.m., ended at 4 p.m., so that was about 7 hours, allowing a little bit of time to paint dry. And I will tell you now, that is not enough time to do a full perfect job. So don't go into it thinking you're going to do a full perfect job. But do the best you can and get out of there. And you could, if there's leftover supplies, they let you take it with you, or you could at least take pictures of it and purchase some more later and do what you want to do and touch it up afterwards. Add little things. They did provide stickers. I didn't add the stickers yet because I still intend to go back through and hit all those different little areas that we showed that were missing some paint or putting a few extra coats on there. But overall, definitely highly recommend the custom class if you are interested in doing customs. If you're a customizer already, then you probably are going to want to skip it. But hey, it's a nice day where you can just kind of sit down and just enjoy painting up a Transformers figure and chatting with the people at your table. We had some nice conversations, just, hey, various topics on Transformers and things like that. And so it was a nice slow start getting into the weekend before all the craziness started happening later that evening. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the people. Now, we already gave a shout out to the viewers who came up to me. So again, another big thanks to you guys. But I was also on the other side of that conversation where I was the viewer, I was the fan, and was looking for people. And so here's a little bit of what we did. Now, first of all, I was dressed to the nines. I had my t-shirt on. I had my hat on. I even had socks on. Not that you could see it because they were inside shoes and I had long pants. Nobody knew they were there, but trust me, they were there. So those are robots in disguise, Optimus Prime on my feet there. I had a few other versions too. First up, this guy actually found me. So we were kind of both, approaching it from both angles. We're both fans of each other and stuff like that. So this is Patriot Prime. We've talked about him before on this channel. He's a great guy. I was on the sit rep with him where we chatted about Transformers. We obviously chat a little bit more and chatted about other things too, but mostly Transformers. But yeah, I'm a pretty tall guy, so it's not often that I meet somebody who's roughly my height, and he's like right there. We're eye to eye. And it was just really cool. Hung out with him quite a bit this weekend. Went and had dinner one night with him and some of his buddies. And which, sorry guys, I don't really remember all you guys' names or whatever. But I did have a good time hanging out with you guys and having dinner and all that stuff. But yeah, Patriot Prime, quality dude. Go check out and subscribe to his channel. Next up, this is Paul from Robots with Coffee. These guys, Jesse is the guy taking a picture. Didn't get a picture of him. I don't know why. Afterwards, I was thinking, why didn't I get a picture with Jesse? So sorry about that. But these guys were really cool. We've actually known each other for a little while on the internets from Facebook and Twitter and things like that. These guys, Paul particularly, does drawings of original robots, and I actually picked up one of their comic books. Check out Robots with Coffee. They're on Facebook. They're on Twitter. They do a lot of good stuff. They also do toy photography, like toy comics. They actually take the figures and pose them. I've done this from time to time on Facebook, and basically make a comic strip with your toys and add little captions and stuff like that. And their sense of humor is right in line with my sense of humor, and I think that was. I think that's where we hit it off. So definitely enjoyed meeting you guys over there in Artist Alley, and just made my day. Real happy to see you guys were there. You were definitely one of the stops I wanted to make. Next up, Deluxe Baldwin was there, and if you're not familiar, check out Deluxe Baldwin on his channel. He's another Transformers reviewer. He goes live from time to time talking with a few people. I'm still waiting for my invite there, Deluxe, but just kidding. But I didn't have a whole lot of time to chat with him because I was heading one way, he was heading the other way. But we stopped and said hi. He was kind enough to take a picture with me and all that, and then we moved on. And then didn't get a chance to catch up later on. But still definitely nice running into you and snapping a picture. And hopefully we'll have a chance to chat a little bit more. And then I was ordered. I had to go chase down Bobby Skullface, and I did. I actually got a mug from his stand. He had quite a bit of stuff. He had blankets. He had posters, mouse pads, mugs. In fact, I got the last of the mug particular one that I got, and chatted with him for a couple of moments, and obviously snapped this picture here. Really stand-up guy, really cool dude. If you see him at any convention, go up, say hi. I'm sure he'll really appreciate it, and just a great guy. Now, another big part of the Transformers conventions, or really any nerd convention, as you might want to call it, is cosplay. And so there were definitely some costumes around there. I didn't get a picture of every costume there, and I had a terrible seat for the costume contest because I made the mistake of getting there right about the start time. Let me tell you, if you want to see get a front row seat for the costume contest, go to the panel before. get the front row seat, watch the panel before, and then just stay in your seat and watch the costume contest. They have a screen and all that, but even that is very far away. But these people are also all walking around, and most of them, if not all of them, will be happy to pose for a picture for you. First up, I saw this great cosplay of the Mistress of Light from the IDW comics. If you guys were not familiar with that, definitely go check that out. I believe it was in the Robots in Disguise comics. I think they turned it into, they started calling it Transformers after something. Right about the time they turned More Than Meets the Eye into Lost Light, they turned that Robots in Disguise with that. She's came in, and from the planet Windblade came from, or whatever. And so yeah, that's pretty cool. Or maybe it's Solus Prime. I've heard some people saying it might be Solus Prime. That is a hammer there, meaning the Swords of Folus. I saw it as the Mistress of Light, but now I'm starting to question myself. But either way, it's fantastic. So you got a little pack with spikes that glow, lights on the knees, lights on the chest. Just a fantastic costume. And saw this person playing as Starscream. It looked really good. Had some makeup, making her look nice and evil or whatever. I believe that Ravage went along with the Soundwave we'll see here in a little bit, but still, she was sitting there posing next to that Ravage, and snapped a picture. And a lot of really great cosplay. And there's that Soundwave who I think that Ravage belongs to. There was also a Laserbeak going around with that Soundwave. The chest actually opens. This Soundwave actually won the costume contest, and the prize certificate, the presenter actually opened the chest, slid it in there, and then closed it back up. It was hilarious. And so yeah, shout out to all these people who are doing the cosplay. That is some serious work that you guys did. It's mighty impressive, and very happy to have seen all that. Keep it up. Okay, so what TFCon wrap-up would be complete without going over all of the figures that they had on display? Some of them were available, some of them were up and coming, some of them were just prototypes, and some of them were revealed here at TFCON. I'm not going to talk about the third-party panel much. Like the big reveal there was the Fans Toys Fort Max, which got a huge reaction and has been all over. Plenty has been said about it. If you're wondering about my opinion, it's too big for me. I'm not interested. But I think it looks great, and if you're somebody who wants it, then great, and I'm happy for you. But I won't be getting it. That Astro Train looks pretty darn awesome, though. Okay, so let's look at the ones we saw in person. So I am excited about these guys. These are the Iron Factory Spirits of the DEC, aka the Decepticon Justice Division. So far, we've got Tarn, Voss, and Kaon. Man, I can't remember the two big guys, but Alcade is the blue one. That's the Iron Factory name. Who's actually in my stack, and I want to ship him so bad, but I know the other guy is going to be coming soon. Because I mean he's right here, and yeah, I'm afraid that as soon as I hit ship, I'm going to get the notification that he's in stock, and I might have to wait. So I'm kind of holding off. Besides, as you'll see in the haul, I got plenty of figures to hold me over for now. So, but yeah, it was really cool to see them in their combined mode. It's so cool. And it turns out really most of the body is the two big guys, because Tarn kind of sits up there as the chest, and the other two guys are basically the guns. Yeah, but still, it was really cool to see them combined. And there's the team uncombined, and man, they look amazing. The ones that I've gotten in hand are fantastic, and I cannot wait to see those two big guys. I'm sure they're going to be just as good. Also, this is another one from Iron Factory, the Beast Wars Megatron. They're calling it Heat Death, and you can see he's colored there. That means he's getting really close to coming out. I have this guy pre-ordered. He looks fantastic. They're also doing a version of the Optimal Optimus. I don't remember what they're calling it. We didn't see it here, but they are doing a version of it. So this guy against the Optimal Optimus is going to look epic on the shelves in Legends scale anyway. Then over here on the Masterminds Creations table, I did a little video, which I'll throw up. And in that video, you'll find a little blank stand there, which was for this guy. This is a prototype of their new figure they're coming out based on the IDW Chrome Dome called Nemo, because he was a Nemosurgeon. Or Nemosurgeon, or I don't know exactly how you say it, but he's a guy with the little needles in his fingers that he sticks in your head to poke around your head, maybe implant memories and stuff like that. Some shady kind of stuff that he didn't like. He didn't like doing anymore. So I'm sure that's where the name comes from. There's a closer look at the robot mode. It's spot on to the comics. It's amazing that they did that. I'm so happy that they did. Now, I've got a couple of versions of Chrome Dome, both from Titan's Return and from the Collector's Club, which was made out of that Wheeljack mold, which looked great, but getting one that's spot on to the IDW, man, MMC, you are just hitting all the right buttons for me, and I know a lot of other people in the fandom. And there he is in his vehicle mode again, straight out of the pages of IDW. It's amazing. I can almost see how to transform him. I'm sure there's a few tricks here or there, but MMC is usually pretty good about their transformations. They're usually pretty slick, pretty easy to understand. Not a whole lot of crazy moves that you have to make or whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this guy coming out. I'm sure it's probably a year away or something at least. And then also over in the case, there's another one that I wanted to talk about. Was this is the Fans Toys Sheridan or Warpath, and he wasn't posed like this earlier on, although they did have the mask at his feet. But then I came back a little bit later on, and they put the mask on him. They put him in that pose from Hoist Goes Hollywood, and that right here sold me on this figure. Because I've already got the X-Transbots Hoist with the mask. Masterpiece Sunstreaker came with the mask. X-Transbots Hoist also came with the mask for Masterpiece Tracks. I've got a version of Power Glide. I want to say it's DX9 Richthofen or something like that. I don't know exactly how you say it, but it's basically a Masterpiece Power Glide. He's got a mask. The only other guy who didn't have for that scene was Warpath, and this is the guy right here. So he will be in my collection. He will probably be opening up another Pandora's box of fans toys, because I've been kind of avoiding them just because there's so much good stuff there, and I don't really want to get into that and start feeling like I need to get more. But I think this is going to be the key that unlocks that particular Pandora's box. Okay, so now in addition to all that other stuff going on, one of my favorite panels, and if you ask around, anybody who went there would probably tell you this is one of their favorite panels too. But Friday night, right after they kind of did a little opening ceremonies, which is basically it wasn't a whole lot to it. Pretty much said, "Hey, welcome to TFCON DC 2019. Have fun." But what else do you need to do? So it kicked off with a panel called G1 Movie Madness. I have no idea what this was about, but turns out it was the guys from the Autopod Decepticast, a podcast which I had not heard of before, but I have recently listened to quite a few of their episodes. What these guys do is they go through the 86 Transformers movie minute by minute, or at least that's what they did for the first 86 episodes or whatever. Then they ran out of minutes, and so they've moved on to other stuff too. But I went back to the beginning to listen to it, and really entertaining. These guys, lifelong friends, and you can tell from their interactions and stuff like that. It's not for the little ears, I will definitely say, and so will they. But it's definitely highly entertaining, and they've pointed out some things that sure is like, oh yeah, well, who doesn't know that? But there's also been plenty of other things that I was like, wow, I had no idea. So definitely worth a listen. But anyway, what they did here with their presentation with the G1 Movie Madness was absolutely hilarious. It made me an instant fan and whatever. And what I thought was kind of funny is they actually from time to time they did a recording, and they said, what we want you to do is when we put up this applause sign, we want you to applaud and stuff like that. They didn't need the darn sign. I'm telling you, they did not need the sign. People were cracking up. People were applauding. They were laughing and stuff like that. They did need the sign, but still it was hilarious that they had it. And well done, guys. I was happy to meet Aaron and Ryan there near the end of the convention. Caleb wasn't there, so I didn't manage to see him. But it was a pleasure meeting you guys, and definitely working through your back library now, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. They also had a few displays there. This one was really cool. It was like, what is this? A Generation Toy Devastator, just like a masterpiece scale Devastator towering over all the Legend scale figures, which really is kind of what the scale was intended. All the Constructicons would normally be the Legend scale, but then they combine and they're like this big. So again, scale in Transformers is completely out the window. So anybody who tries to say, oh, well, it's not in scale, well, duh. Scale, what's that? But yeah, this was really cool. They got a nice mix in there. They've got some Iron Factory in there. They got some New Age. They've got some Magic Square, and they got some other stuff in there which I didn't recognize. I think they might have been some upscale knockoffs in there, but there was one Rodimus off to the one side which I did not see anywhere, and honestly I didn't even know about that, but I couldn't find it, and I want that Hot Rod or Rodimus or whatever fake name they would want to call him or whatever, because as you know, because people ask me all the time, Hot Rod's my favorite character in the Transformers universe. Why? Don't know, but he is. But yeah, definitely cool. I like Megatron and Bumblebee kind of facing off there in the front. I believe those are both New Age figures, and I got them both, and they're both outstanding. But we're getting ahead of ourselves because that's the haul. And, Flame Toys, why did you do this to me? This is their Star Saber, which is coming out soon. This is one of those highly detailed, posable statues. It doesn't transform, but you can pose it. It's got lights in it. It's got all this stuff. This thing is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I was kind of hoping, I was like, where's Tarn? I wanted to see that Tarn. I also kind of didn't want to see that Tarn, because if I saw the Tarn, I'd probably want to get the Tarn. But they did a Drift, they've done a Tarn, and they've also done the Star Saber. They also do the model kits. I've got a number of their model kits. I haven't put any together yet, but I do have the kits. But this Star Saber, and they're working on an Optimus Prime, and I actually had a chance to handle the thing. It's so heavy, and high quality, just beautiful abs. if you can afford it, these things are would definitely be the centerpiece of your collection. And it's going to be hard. Well, not so hard after my feelings after spending what I spent there at TFCON to avoid these things. But I'll tell you what, seeing that in person was just amazing. It was definitely one of the highlights of my of the convention, which is why I'm talking about it here. And I just thought this was hilarious. This is the Magnet Inventa, which I've got sitting here behind me. But they had him sitting in a little glass case over there at the Agabus booth and whatever. They had him kind of up and leaning up against the glass, like, let me out, let me out. So I just found that quite humorous. And I've seen that in a number of TFCon wrap-up videos. So apparently it went over as well as they were hoping, because it definitely is getting a lot of love. And then there was also this out on the floor. This was, I think, the Transformerland store display. And they just had a ton of G1 Jetfires in box. I believe they were all complete. I pulled a few of them out. They're all nice and white, no yellowing, good condition. Some of them are a little pricey, but that's what you get for really good condition, complete G1 figures or whatever. But definitely was an impressive display. That's a big, huge, I don't know if it's cardboard or wood or some kind of, but obviously Jetfire display standee back behind them. Clearly this is their specialty, but they had a huge booth. They had a whole bunch of stuff there. And for ranging from G1 to obscure stuff. I saw a transforming Buzz Lightyear figure there, which I was considering but decided against, because I am a fan of Buzz Lightyear as well in other Disney properties. Definitely enjoyed that. Another thing I saw at the Transformerland, I don't know how many people noticed, but they had this guy kind of sitting up there atop their display. This, I believe, whether this is the original, true, or one of them, or what I would think the way that he was hidden, and not sure, pretty sure he wasn't for sale, but this looked like that original prototype of Unicron from back in the G1 days or whatever. So I kind of zoomed in, snapped a picture of it, and I thought that was a nice little Easter egg they had up there. But yeah, you can kind of see some of the prices they had there on some of their sealed G1 and reissue figures. So they had some nice stuff there, but it's a little out of my price range and not exactly what I was looking for. They had a nice like gold plated and silver plated Jazz and all that, but it was like $300. I'm like, cool. Not that cool, at least not for my collection, but I'm sure it'll be cool for somebody's. Okay, now it's time for the haul. So for anybody who doesn't want to stick around for however else long it's going to take for me to go ahead and show you the figures, I've got a couple of pictures that I took. First off, day one, it's the exclusives and the custom figures in the custom figure there. Day two, I got some pins and some more pins and some other little accessories. Plus I got all of these little Legends guys. Plus I did get the movie Masterpiece Jazz. I had that pre-ordered, but bird in the hand's worth two in the bush, so to speak, or whatever. So I went ahead and canceled my pre-order, picked him up, so now I have him immediately. I don't have to wait for him to show up in stock. I also decided, because of that Mastermind Creations display, to go in on their Bruticus. So I got the first figure that is out, which is Impetus, which is their Vortex. They had their version of Swindle and Blastoff, I don't remember their names, down there, as well as a combined Bruticus, and they are mighty impressive. And so, yeah, I figured, you know what, let's go ahead and take the plunge and get the first of the 5 figures. Yeah, another Pandora's box open. And day 3, I actually had to take this picture a second time because Impactor was originally not in there. I just had gone back and gotten a few of these other Legend scale figures. It's a mix of New Age and Magic Square. I was mostly looking at the Magic Square because of that Magic Square Hoist that I got not too long ago. This guy right here. I was like, so yeah, kind of liking that Magic Square stuff, so I figured I'd go get some of that. And then I saw the New Age stuff, and particularly, he's right in there too, that barricade. I saw the Robots with Coffee guy using a little Legend scale barricade. I'm like, where'd they get that? Because at first I was thinking it was the Siege one. But so I started looking at that, and yeah, it turns out that New Age stuff is actually really good. And Impactor showed up later because that was a prize that I won in a raffle from the podcaster roundtable, the very last panel of the convention. time for the haul. Now, I went through the pictures, but there's some stuff in there that weren't in the pictures, and I have a feel like this is going on a little long, so I'm just going to probably jump cut a lot of this together and stop it only if there's a nice story. First up, I want to point this out. I got this commission from Josh Burcham, who does a lot of the colors on the IDW comics, and fantastic job. I'm a big fan of his style, even though he doesn't do the lines in the comics a lot, but I wish he did. Because he's done some kind of fan comics or whatever, and I just think this is fantastic. I asked him for Hoist. He said G1 IDW style, anything you want. I said I don't care. I just want Hoist. Surprise me, and this is what he came up with, and it's absolutely fantastic, and I love it. And I will definitely frame it. Not sure what else I'm going to do with it. Maybe at some point I might throw some colors on it in like Photoshop or something after I scan it, but certainly won't do it justice. But I may just leave it as whatever. I love it, and I'm so happy to have met him and got a piece of his art. And so, Josh, thank you so much for that, and it was a pleasure meeting you. Okay, so I got a lot of pins from Lee Bobowitz. First up, I saw this Rodimus Star. It's not really coming through very well, but fantastic. I actually wore this on Saturday. Yeah, it was like the second half of Saturday after I got this. I was wearing a Hot Rod shirt, so it was perfect. And a few people asked me where I got it, so hopefully I sent some business her way, because I did definitely mention her. So she also got this nice little rung pin. Now, let me also tell you, not only is the art fantastic, these pins are high quality. She's got an Etsy store. I'll put a link down in the description, so definitely go see that. I thought this was great. We achieved something. So these are all basically Lost Light comics related. So if you're not familiar, these probably aren't going to make sense to you. If you're a fan of that comic, you'll get it. And so a nice little pin of the Lost Light crew. That's a picture of the Lost Light there, and it's just great. And then Tailgate says "Don't panic." He's got the little panic eyes. Another little callback to that. Finally, I got this Decepticon Justice Division pin, which, man, that is super cool. It's like the nice dark metal, plus it's got some purple accents. That was really cool as well. She also threw in this nice little sticker here. It's like a little Band-Aid with an Autobot on it. It's a little sticker. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it yet. Like that. Another pin I got, this was from Lankay Art. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that, but yeah, so that's on Etsy. Topping the Rodimus Star only is the Rodimus Shield, or I believe she's calling it the Rodimus Crest. But this is it's a larger pin than the others for comparison. And this one is especially good, not only just because it's larger, but also because it only made one appearance in the comics, and it was held by Hoist. I believe it was in the Trail Cutter / Trailbreaker Spotlight. Trailbreaker went and finally did it, saved the day, finally got himself a Rodimus Star, and Hoist is like, yeah, bam, Rodimus Shield. That Rodimus apparently gave to everybody else for just going through the ordeal, even though Trailbreaker / Cutter saved the day. So, but yes, definitely so happy about that. I said I would keep it short, and I am not. Owlcat Crafts actually did these little accessory things. This is a Kremzik soda bottle. Let's see if it'll focus on there, or soda can rather, for your robots to hold. Also, a coffee mug here. It says Starbots Coffee. Got like a kind of a little Starbucks with a little Autobot symbol in there, and a little bottle of wine. It says Visages. That's another callback to the IDW comics The Lost Light, because Mirage ran a bar on The Lost Light called Visages. And in fact, there's a callback to that on this Mirage figure back here. It says, it's hard to see, but it says Visages on his spoiler. So that's what this is about. And Robots with Coffee guys actually they had the little coffee mug in one of their bots holding that, obviously, because that's what they do. And they pointed, oh yeah, they got them right down there. So I went down there and picked these up. So definitely thank you so much for those. Speaking of the Robots with Coffee guys, I got some of their stuff too. They got some. They had some stickers. So here's an example of what the kind of art that they do. So it's very cool. And this is kind of like I think it's a sticker, maybe a bumper card, not really a bumper sticker, but it's a postcard or something. But it's pretty cool. It's a little robot looking off in the distance or whatever. This is a little comic book that they did. It's full of the various little comic strips that they put up on there. It's a lot of little jokes, and they have the same sense of humor as I do, so definitely, and also a copy of a little coloring book. I probably won't color this, but there's way more than just pictures to color. There's all sorts of content and stuff in there. So like this one I just opened up to is the Robo Goddess of Blankets, Cuddletron. Yeah, so Spongehall, Trainaham, Lincoln Motive. So yeah, just puns all over the place. Definitely, I love Robots with Coffee, guys, and so yeah, big fan. So I think that's about it for the Artist Alley haul. So let's quickly go through the bots. First up are the exclusives. G2 Vulcan in blue colors. MMC reformatted R37 Bedrock, aka Bulkhead. MMC reformatted R41 Ultio, aka Senator Ratbat. MMC's Ocular Max Perfection Series PS01R Sphinx Regenesis. One thing we're going to stop real quick because I want to read this warning here. I think it's hilarious. Warning: contains small parts of nostalgia and awesomeness, which may present difficulty for most adults to resist opening and playing with this toy. Fantastic warning there. I love the clamshell that it opens. You can take the toy out, play with it, put it back together, and still close it back up. You don't actually have to destroy the package to still display it like this. Fantastic. MMC's Ocular Max PS01P, I think, the Sphinx Pharaoh. This is actually another one just like what we saw. It's basically their version of Mirage done in black and gold. It's got 3 heads that you can choose, including the toy accurate head, which I think is the perfect one for this. This was a surprise exclusive. Nobody knew about this until we walked in that room, or rather until the guy came out screaming, "They got a gold Mirage! They got a gold Mirage!" It was hilarious and I loved it. Okay, now for the rest of the haul in no particular order. New Age McCoy, aka Ironhide. New Age Miller, aka Ratchet. Now, what really turned me on to this guy is in the customizing class, there was one of the people at my table had this figure out and was posing him, and I was just like, that is amazing. I have to get one. New Age Monero, aka Jazz. Second favorite character, had to get one. New Age Flipper, aka Bumblebee. Saw a lot of love about this guy, but I slept on him until TFCon. New Age Max, aka Cosmos. I got the clear version, and he's really cool. The clear looks great on him. Plus, he's got a little stand. Looks like he's abducting somebody. Fantastic. Then I got the Dotson Bros. New Age Harry, aka Prowl. New Age Maverick, aka Smokescreen. New Age Black Rain, aka Silver Streak. I went with the all-silver version this time instead of the cartoon accurate one. And New Age Alonzo, a.k.a. Barricade. I love they named him Alonzo. That's got to be a callback to Denzel Washington's character in Training Day. And excellent version. Like I said, I saw this in Robots with Coffee's toy comic. At first, I thought it was the Siege Barricade, but turns out it was too small for that. I'm like, where is that? And this is what it is. Great little figure. New Age Insecticons. And New Age Hinkle, aka Megatron. Now they had a couple of different versions of this guy. I went with the metallic silver painted version of this guy. He's nice and shiny, and I actually got him out. He's got the full stock and suppressor and everything. And he's got a little key to Vector Sigma in there. He's got an alternate face, and fantastic little Megatron figure. If you're a fan of Megatron, search one of these guys out. You can't get a Megatron without an Optimus. This is the Magic Square Light of Justice, Optimus Prime. It actually comes complete with a trailer and roller. Funny, interesting story about this. This apparently was the last one available at the convention at the time that I got it, or at least I didn't see any others. And so the first time I went by, I saw a handful of these on the shelf. The second time I went by to start purchasing, there was only one. I figured I better pick it up and hold it. And it's a good thing, too, because as I was standing there was somebody else came by looking for it. But excellent little Optimus Prime here. Magic Square Red Cannon, a.k.a. Sideswipe. Magic Square The Flame Patrol, a.k.a. Red Alert. Magic Square Fire Extinguisher, a.k.a. Inferno. Magic Square Architect, a.k.a. Grapple. Had to get this guy to go along with the Hoist. What are you going to do? Magic Square Trailblazer, a.k.a. Trailbreaker. Funny thing, Optimus actually made a mistake and called him Trailblazer in one episode. Magic Square Surfer and 4-Wheel Drive, aka Sea Spray and Beachcomber. Magic Square Transporter, aka Ultra Magnus. Magic Square Stereo Master, aka Blaster. He's actually got a little ram horn inside of him. Tiniest little thing. It's amazing that he actually transformed. And another thing at TFCON, the half the battle tapes that they have are made to be the size to fit inside this guy. Magic Square Space Skimming, aka Cyclonus. MPM 9 Masterpiece Movie Jazz. MMC Ocular Max Impetus, aka Vortex. And last but not least, Siege Retail Release Impactor. Yeah, as if you've been following along, you know I've got the fan vote Decepticon Impactor back there, but this is the Autobot Impactor. Different deco, different head. Happy to get them. I wasn't able to find them in retail, so being able to win them there was a real treat. So thank you to all of the podcasters, Still City Bots, Iacon Underground, Radio Free Cybertron, even the guys from Autopod Decepticast got up there on that round table. Thank you to everybody. Okay, so that's going to do it for my TFCon wrap-up and haul video, and basically sticks a cork in it for the whole TFCon DC 29 experience here. I'll see about doing some reviews of these bots, throwing some up on Twitter. I have been more active at my Twitter. You can check me out at Engineer Hoist. And if it's your first time here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of this. If you've even made it this far into the video, sum it all up. Had a great time. Learned a lot of stuff. Met a lot of great people. Got way too many bots. Spent way too much money. But overall, it was an absolute blast, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So that's going to do it. I'm Engineer Hoist. Keep rolling, my friends, and we'll see you next time.